Peace and power. This is Brother Psyche, and today's bill will be called Control of Thought. This will be a series, not only explaining how to control yourself, how to develop self-discipline, but breaking down how the mind works, the different components of the brain, and essentially everything you need to know to have a complete understanding of the science of self. If you're interested in this type of information, I would subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button and stay tuned, because this is just one video in the series. Now, this series itself can make a online course, and if I try to do the entire video on this all the information that I've developed for this series, it'll probably take 2 hours. So I'm breaking it down. It'll probably be 5 or 6 videos long. I hope y'all stay tuned. I hope y'all enjoy the information, and I hope you appreciate the work that I put in to gather this information for everybody. Peace. I developed a training course that was originally targeted to men with the primary purpose of helping a man raise to his highest level of consciousness. Now, I know that that's an ambitious statement to make, but that's what I wrote it for, and that's what I developed it for. And I'm a true believer that you can't sculpt a manure hill. So in order to create something great, you got to be dealing with something great. And the way that I weeded out those who was playing games and wasn't willing to put forth the dedication and the discipline necessary to accomplish the things that was in the course is I had an initiation phase. The initiation phase was called the 10 virtues of a student. Now, I didn't create this. I didn't make up the 10 virtues of a student. I'm a history buff. I love to study history. And in my studies of history, I found that in the ancient land of Kemet, the land that created the world's first universities and the earth's oldest known places of study and teaching of human beings, in ancient Kemet, before those great master teachers would teach a student, they had to observe 10 basic virtues in the student. Now, the 10 virtues are as follows. There are control of thought, control of action, steadfastness, identify with higher ideals, evidence of a mission, evidence of a spiritual discipline, courage, or another term that's used for courage is freedom from resentment, confidence in the master, confidence in one's own abilities, and preparedness for initiation. Those are the 10 virtues. And they wouldn't make you recite these 10 virtues. They would allow you to come around the master builders, and they would observe you. And they would look for these characteristics in your person. And if they wasn't there, then they wouldn't allow you to be initiated into study. Now, what I would do is everybody that wanted to participate in the course, I made it a requirement that they learn these 10 virtues by heart. And not just the 10 virtues themselves, but the breakdowns to them. And that's what I'm going to give you right now. For example, this video or this bill today is called Control of Thought, the first virtue. And this is what the students had to learn in order to be able to move on to study. Control of thought, the ability to control your own mind and focus your thoughts constructively. One does this by controlling the outside stimuli that one entertains. Things like the conversations you engage in, the music you listen to, what you read, and what you watch on TV. This is the first step to self-mastery. To control your thoughts, you must first organize your worldview. This will help your mind to be structured, organized, and focused so that it can be a more beneficial weapon throughout your journey of life. You must question and analyze your current life philosophy and ask yourself if it has been a benefit or a hindrance to your progression. Another key to control the thought would be to meditate. Meditation is the organized practice of stillness and conscious awareness. But first, you must learn how to control your own thoughts. This is the virtue, verbatim, word for word. And brothers had to learn these virtues in order to move to the second, in order to move to the third, in order to move to the fourth. And at the end, they was able to recite every single one of these virtues. Now, reciting it is not enough, because we understand that there are 360 degrees in a circle. And a circle is the beginning of one point and the completion of that point. So the completion of anything is 360 degrees. So we need you to have a complete comprehension of the virtues themselves. So in order to have that, you got to get 360 on the virtue. How do you get 360 on the virtue? You got to get knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. There's 120 degrees of knowledge, 120 degrees of wisdom, and 120 degrees of understanding, which all adds up to 360. So what is that? What am I saying? To know it or to hear it is the first step, which is knowledge. To be able to recite it verbatim like I just did is the wisdom of it. And then to be able to break it down in a concrete way that even a child could understand it, shows that you had to understand it. So that's how you gain the knowledge of wisdom and understanding. But today's video is not to build on the virtues. I just wanted to use the virtue as a starting point for the discussion that I'm supposed to go into. Dealing with control of thought. I was talking to a sister not too long ago, very, very emotional sister. This sister is extremely emotional. People that are at this high extreme of emotion, I like to call emotional basket cases. And here's the problem with emotion. You could be a good person, but if you don't have control over your emotions and you allow your emotions to control you, you are an emotional basket case. And people under the control of emotion is like a person being under control of a drug. Once you get emotional, you literally blank out, lose control of your rational mind, and then you'll do something so insane that once you calm down, you'll be like, oh man, I don't know why I did that. And in the next video, I'm explaining, because I'm going to break down the different parts of the brain, and I'm explaining what happens in the brain that makes this phenomenon occur. But this would literally happen once you get so emotional and you stop thinking. It's foolish to guide your life on emotions. Think about this. Let's say you drive. Matter of fact, this good, perfect example. And I'm going to come back to the sister in a few minutes. I was driving a week or two ago. It was cold, and I was driving, and my on my dashboard, light came on, told me that my tires were low. All 4 tires came up, showed me the PSI of the tires, and showed me what PSI they needed to be at. They all needed to be at 40, at least 40 PSI, and my tires were down to like 28, 30 some PSI. So I saw that. Use my steering wheel to steer myself off the freeway, pulled into a gas station, purchased some air, and filled all my tires up to 40 psi, and then got back on the road and went to my destination. You thinking to yourself, logical thing to do. It makes all the sense in the world. Now, think of your human body like your car, like your vehicle. Your emotions are the dashboard. They're the dashboard of life. They are the ones that allow you to know that you're not at 40 psi. They are the ones that allow you to know that you're running out of gas or that something is overheating. The emotions are there to warn you, give you a warning signal that something is wrong. Either something is happening in your life that doesn't rub you the right way, or a warning is being given to you about some kind of danger, something that the emotions are supposed to be warning you about. But just like I use my steering wheel to steer my vehicle off the road, I didn't grab the dashboard. I didn't grab the warning light and start trying to steer my vehicle with the warning light. You know what would have happened? I would have crashed into somebody, because that warning light does not have the ability to steer the vehicle. That's what happens when people allow their emotions to control their actions. When you allow the emotion to pop up and you stop steering with your logic, logic is supposed to be the steering wheel of the vehicle. And emotions are only the dashboard to warn you when something is not right. Now, here's the thing. What if I would have went crazy, saw that, stopped on the side of the road, called somebody, my mother, my brother, somebody, and told them, hey, come bring me some air. No, that would have been an irrational and illogical response to that situation. And that's the same thing with emotion. No matter how much you feel it, no matter how you feel, you still have to slow down and rationalize your way through this thing. Going back to the sister I was telling you about, I tried to explain that to her. She told me I can't do that. I said, why come you can't do that? Because I feel it. And she thought if I feel it, I'm supposed to act on it. And no, you're not. And her interpretation of that is, if you're telling me I'm not supposed to act on my feelings, then you're invalidating my feelings. She thought I was saying that her feelings were not valid because I was saying that you're not supposed to act on every little whim of emotion that comes across you. And when people operate like that, those people are dangerous, because those people may not mean you any harm, but once they get emotional, they can't control themselves. I've seen women get mad at their man cheating. Let's say he cheating on her. Let's say he wrong. He cheated on her. She's so mad she called the police, say he hit her. He didn't hit her. He go to jail, and then when she calmed down, she realized the mistake she made, try to drop the charges, but it doesn't matter because the state picks up the charges, and that guy got to sit in jail anyway because you got so mad you stopped thinking. And that's just one example. There are millions of examples of wrong that people that can't control their emotions do to others, and much more of what people who cannot control their emotions do to themselves. One good key to gaining control of the emotions is this. First of all, you got to understand that the emotion itself has no real power over you. Let's break down what the emotion is. And I'm going to get in detail in this in further video because I'm going to break down the science of this. But let's say let's say somebody hits you. This makes you mad. This is what's going on inside of you. A person hits you. Now you have an experience before of feeling violated by being hit. And because of that experience, you have an automatic response that makes you automatically feel violated, insulted, and humiliated when someone strikes you. What is going on is that in the pituitary gland, in the center of the brain, this gland is secreting a hormone called cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone. This stress hormone goes into your bloodstream and makes a complete circuit through your body, through your blood flow, and it makes you feel that anger, that stress, that violation that you're feeling in yourself. That's it. It is nothing more than a hormone that is coursing through your bloodstream. Now, instead of responding by knocking the dude upside his head or catching out running or whatever it is that you do when you get angry, you can stop and think to yourself, this is nothing more than a hormone that's being secreted through my body, through my pituitary gland. Is this really as bad as I think it is? And 9 out of 10, if somebody hit you, I'd say knock the hell out of them. But in every situation, you don't have to blank out. You may be talking to your boss and he may be raising his voice a little bit. You can rationalize your way out of the feeling. You can rationalize your way out of the emotion. And that's something that I practiced for years to learn how to do. No matter what's going on, no matter what feeling I'm having, I can rationalize my way out of being extremely passionate about a woman when I see she means me no good. I might can't do it that day or that week, but it'll eventually happen. I can rationalize and think my way out of the feeling that I've allowed myself to go into. And that is basically, essentially all that's needed in order to be able to control your emotional responses. You'll still feel it, but you are in direct control of how you respond to what you're feeling. And like I say, this is just the introduction. I am going to break down from the concept of the brain and the concept of the mind and show how this process, what's going on inside of us that makes us feel a certain way, and show us how to gain self-control, self-discipline, and self-mastery. I hope y'all stay tuned. Peace.